Webinar team. In the connection, hello, very good afternoon, one and all. In the connection of the webinar series, we are conducting the webinar on regular basis on on various subjects, and we are inviting to the renowned speakers from the different fields. In this connection, today we have the esteemed guest and the chief guest of the today's webinar, Mr. Sana Rahman sir. He is the cinema and broadcasting specialist and Canon India Private Limited. So today's webinar topic is cinematography workshop, explore the latest video technologies. So we welcome you, sir, on behalf of the Parul University, on behalf of the Parul University management, on behalf of the Parul University president, sir, on behalf of the Parul University vice chancellor, sir, and on behalf of the Parul University registrar, sir. We welcome you, sir. We welcome you, sir. Now I request you, sir, please enlighten to our faculty members and the participants and the students and the various participants, those are connected from the different part of the country. So we welcome you, sir. We welcome you, sir. Welcome you, sir. And now I over to you, sir. Please enlighten to us and the share your screen and the presentation. We are waiting. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ramesh, and thank you so much for the faculty members and VTI
welcome, sir,
for arranging this session for us. Right. So, as you know, my small introduction is so my name is Sana Rahman. I'm from Canon India, and it's been almost more than 11 to 12 years I'm there in this division, and I'm looking after technical part of Canon cameras, basically. Especially type of cinema cameras and broadcasting cameras. So today we are going to discuss about latest Canon camera, which is C70, and what kind of lenses are available, and we'll take your queries after that, right? So the session will be placed in a way that like I'll try to cover my PPT part in like around 40 to 45 minutes. Then post that, we will take your question and answers. So during my presentation, if you have any queries or any question comes into your mind, I would request you to please note it down. And in the last one by one, maybe you can ask with us in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself as per the system allow, right? And you can go ahead with your questions, right? So let me try to share my screen. Give me a minute. So I hope my screen is visible to you. Sir, can you please confirm? Anybody can confirm? My screen is visible?
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
I am audible enough, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. Okay. So today, let's start today's session with the C70 camera, Hero camera, and which is a newly launched camera in Canon Cinema family. Okay. So this is how it looks like. So before going there, I would like to show you that like there are other cameras which are also available in this family, and which we have manufactured for specialized kind of requirement. Okay. So here comes a list which will show you like what all kind of cameras are available in our Canon Cinema use. Maybe in your university, or like the kind of rental house you deal with, or maybe if you have seen the lot of production houses, they are all using these kind of cameras. So in the starting, as you can see, we have the smallest camera, which is a newly added member in our family. This is called EOS C70, followed by other cameras like C200, C300 Mark II. This is the second generation of C300 family. Then we have third generation, which has recently announced just before this camera was launched, right? And then C500 was also launched after this. Then C700 and C700 FF. And these are available with this kind of resolutions like 4K and 5.9K. And these are available with like Super 35 as well as full frame sensors, right? So these are the cameras which can be used based on the requirement of the industry, right? For example, if I'm shooting something for Netflix, right? So I need to look like before starting my project, I need to look, I need to see, I need to check that like the camera or the other equipment which I am buying is approved by Netflix or not. Because as of now, Netflix is on top in terms of OTT players. Similarly, if I'm shooting something for documentaries, right? So my first part is the camera should be lightweight and I should have a proper XLR port so that I can record. So in that case, small cameras will not work. So I need a camera which will work in terms of recording audio properly, right? Similarly, if I'm a single person who do editing, who do shooting part, who looks after post part, right? Then I need something which is small enough, which I can carry in my backpack and can carry around and like in different places and can you know uh, can take it out and install it immediately, right? So depending on the shot. Similarly, if I'm shooting something big projects, right, I need a bigger camera, which because my budgets will be big, I will have a lot of time in terms of grading and like and my preference will be a raw camera. But similarly, if I'm looking something for, if I'm shooting something for YouTube or a kind of medium kind of clients, right? Where or kind of ad films where time is limited, but they are giving you good money, right? So at that time, we don't prefer to go with raw, right? We need something which have a very good codec internally and can record a better color information, right? So that my post production work will be reduced, right? So these kind of cameras are available with us, which can be used for different kind of requirements, right? So, but today we are going to discuss about the youngest camera in this family, which we have recently added, and this is called EOS-C70 model. Okay, now let me take you further. So next important thing is, after finalizing the camera, the next important thing is lens. Because let's say if my camera is very good and lenses are just okay or get fungus or something, right? Or that will maybe have a breathing effect, right? Then you are not able to capture the audience details, because let's say if some breathing will comes, right, then you immediately lose audience attention, right? So we need a good kind of resolution lenses which will have a minimum breathing effect, or with and should have a good kind of skin tones, right, which is producing by that lens, right? So we also have cine lenses, right? And these are slightly different from our DSLR EF lenses, right? So let me show you. This is our Canon Cine EF lens family. So wherein, as you can see, these are different kind of lenses which are available, and these are like we are adding many lenses on a monthly basis or basis or a yearly basis, just to make this family bigger. But just to give you an idea, vertical lenses which are placed over there. So these are basically super zoom lenses, right? These are all manual lenses. Manual lenses means you don't have auto features over there, right? But what you need to do, you need to control it manually, like we required for big projects, because we have focus pullers and we have big crew members, right? So for that kind of requirements, we use these kind of manual lenses, or a kind of feature film project, right? So we use these kind of lenses. Okay. So apart from this, in the middle row, these are servo lenses. Servo lenses means this comes in Cine family, but in Cinema family, these lenses have full control on manual mode, right? Plus, what you can do over here, this will also allow you to zoom in, zoom out, right? With the help of button. It means we have fixed motor inside these lenses, which we call servo drive, right? And with the help of that, you can able to control these lenses wherever you want to zoom in, zoom out, or like for different operations, right? So these are servo lenses, servo cine lenses. Why? Because these are specially designed for manual as well as for buttoned, in terms of controlling the zoom in, zoom out, and like other features through remote options, right? Or wired controllers, right? Which we call it zoom demand or focus demand. Okay. And I'll tell you one unique thing about these lenses. lenses is, for example, if this lens is the most expensive lens available with Canon in cinema segment, otherwise we have very big lenses which are available in television industry. But anyway, in cinema segment, this is the most expensive lens, and this is the most unique lens. Why I'm saying this? Because this covers a focal length of 50 mm to 1000 mm. And apart from this, we have also given 1.5x built-in extender. And you may be shocked after knowing the cost. So this lens is costing approximately like 58 to 60 lakh rupees. Yes, 58 to 60 lakh rupees for each lens, especially this one, right? And this is the first and the very much priority, right? Or I can say, let's say if I'm going for wildlife project, which is offered by Netflix, or sorry, which is offered by Discovery or National Geographic, right? Then their first question is, are you having that lens? If you have, then only we can offer you this project, right? Even no matter what all kind of good work you do, right? Because when you go into wildlife filmmaking, right? So you don't know how far your subject will be, right? You're working with uncontrolled situations. You'll get the permit of like 10 days filming, right? In a jungle. You don't know you'll get the best shot, even in like next 1 hour, or you'll get your shot after 5 days, 6 days, or maybe like for your entire shooting days, you'll not get the desired shot, right? So wildlife is like, a kind of very uncertain, right? In terms of shooting. So you should be prepared, right? So as a international criteria, this is the only lens which is suggested by like one of the lens which is suggested by Netflix, sorry, by National Geographic or Discovery kind of, or Animal Planet for their wildlife filmmaking. And this is only manufactured by Canon. So imagine what kind of lens quality we are offering to our users. And this is available in both mount EF as well as PL. So this can be used with Canon cameras as well, and this can be used with third-party cameras, right? So similarly, we have other lenses as well. And in the front row, right, these are called block lenses. So again, available in two different mounts. This is the right one is available in EF mount, and this one is available in PL mount. So why we call it block? Because this doesn't have a variation in focal length. And these are available with different focal lengths, and this is available in a set of 7 lenses, right? Starting from 14 mm, 20 mm, 24 mm, 35 mm, 50 mm, 85 mm, and 135 mm. So depending on the requirement, you can choose between your, I mean, like whenever you go out after the university or after your exams or after your project finishes, right? When you go in the industry, so you find these kind of lenses outside, right? And so that like you can use it depending on the requirement basis, right? So now the question comes is, let's say if I'm going for wildlife, so do I need these lenses? Not all, right? Because wildlife you require these kind of lenses. But yes, if you are filming something in like without light or moonlight, then you need these kind of lenses. For example, 50 mm, this comes to the opening of 1.3, right? Which is a very superb lens. So you can use the power of low light from the camera, and you can, let's say if you use 1.3, so you will have a beautiful combination, which will allow you to shoot even in moonlight kind of situation, right? So basically, whenever we are going, right, for these kind of shots, we need to understand the project requirement, and accordingly we need to plan our equipments, right? So this is all about like Canon Cine lens family, right? Previously we have seen camera family, and this is the lens family. Now let me take you further with the C70 discussion, right? Give me a minute, let me just it's very hot in north right now. So okay, so let me take you further with the specification of EOS C70. So as you can see, this is the camera, and this looks like a DSLR, but this is very unique in features, right? So which I'll explain you in my coming slides. Now let's look at the design first. Like why and from where this design comes out, right? Okay. So first of all, this is very compact. As you can see, we have placed it in between two lenses. As you can see, 1535 and 85 mm, just to give you a feel that like how lightweight and small this camera is. Okay, so this is the front view. This is the top view. Okay, now let me take you with the in detail design part. So actually, uh, this is a combination of three different cameras, three different type of cameras I can say. First is mirrorless, second is cinema, and third is broadcasting. And why I'm saying this, I'll explain you a little later. But before that, before going to that part, I would like to let you know that like in like early 2010, when I remember in 2010, we have launched yeah, around 2010, we have launched a 5D Mark 4, sorry, 5D Mark 2, and we have introduced first time video, full HD video in that, right? So after that, like there are a lot of users are there, and we know all our users are very creative enough. They are good with experiments, and they would like to test, like no, as such as they would like to explore new options with the available resources, right? So few of our users have tested this camera on a big for a big feature film, right? And they projected it, and they see the kind of quality what they're getting. They have never seen it before, right? So after that, this become very famous. And similarly, a lot of newsmakers and like a lot of ENG I can say, or a lot of filmmakers and a lot of post production guys and lost a lot of OTT players, and they have started using it. Right at that time, YouTube was there. So uh, this was commonly it was commonly used everywhere. Like it was not used 100%, but yes, it was used for different kind of creative shots, right? And then later on, like Mr. Amol Gupte has come up with Stanley Kadibba, that has changed the entire life of entire view of or acceptability of 5D series of cameras, right? So after that, we start getting some feedbacks that like the camera is very good, right? We love to do it. It's very compact, very handy. We can just keep it fix it in our small backpack, and we can roam around with a set of two, three lenses, right? But there are few challenges which we face, or they said it will be very great if you add few features into this. We said what? Then they said, sir, we would like to use this for ENG, because when we want to go to capture some war at that time, carrying a tripod, it will be a very tough situation. Or make yourself visible for taking shots, it will be very challenging, right? So we need something which can record the audios. Similarly, which we need a camera which will continuously run, right? If something important is going on, we need to roll the camera, right? Similarly, we need, somebody said we need a good battery backup. We need like somebody which we can we need something which can roll it for a longer time. Similarly, there were feedbacks like we want to attach a professional microphone, so give us something which you can hold 3-pin XLRs, right? Similarly, somebody has suggested we need anti filters in it, right? Because when we take the camera out, especially in small crews, right, it's not possible for us to carry multiple equipment. For example, if I'm using three different lenses, so maybe there's 100% possibility that like dimensions of all the diameters of the front element or the of those lenses may be different, right? So we need to use ND filters, right? So we need, if in ND filters is built in, then we can switch it with the help of button, and we can utilize it. So we get a lot of feedback. So basically, now I would like to take you to the conclusion that this is the combination of all those feedback which we got from our users internationally, right? So that's why I said this is a combination of three different type of cameras. One is mirrorless, second is with the cinema image quality, and the third is broadcasting features, right? So what we have done over here, so this is the first Cine RF mount camera, so where we have taken the RF mount from our mirrorless segment and the form factor of mirrorless cameras. Similarly, we have taken the image quality from our big cinema cameras, what I have shown you in my previous slide. Similarly, we have taken professional ports from our broadcasting camera. So basically, this is a combination of three different type of cameras, and this is an output of the thoughts and the visions which we got from our customers. Right now, let me take you further. Okay, let's look at the key features of these cameras. Okay, so first of all, this is a 16-stop dynamic range CMOS sensor, what we are using here. I will explain you in my coming slides, but this is just to give you an idea. Plus, we are using Digic DB7 processor. So this is the fastest processor as of now what we have, what we are using. And there are few advantages of having like these two things together, right? So the advantages are like 422 and 120. So I'll explain these things in my coming slide. I have a dedicated slide for all these things, so which I'll cover later. But this is to just to give you an output, just to give you an overview that like we are using 16 plus stops dynamic range sensor, which is impossible to provide you in this price range, right? And similarly, we are using the fastest processor, which is capable of recording 422 120 frames internally, right? We'll discuss this later in coming slides. Okay, now let's talk about the first thing, which we call it DGO sensor. So basically, this is the latest sensor what we are using over here, and this is Canon's latest patented technology what we are using over here, right? So the formula or the research what we have done over here is that when we talk about negative previously, so when we capture the image and negative exposed with light, and your image will be clicked. I'm sure you have heard, you have read about this in details in your courses, right? But today I'm just giving you a brief, right? So after that, when digital comes, so there are two kinds of sensors which we are using. One, previously we were using CCD sensors, and now we are using CMOS sensor, right? So there are difference between these two kind of sensors, but as of now, majority like 99.9%, I can say 100% as of now, everybody is using CMOS sensors, right? So now when CMOS sensor comes, so everybody comes with their technologies, right? So there are different brands who don't manufacture their sensors, right? They buy it from third party, right? But in terms of Canon, since we are imaging company, so we don't need to rely on others. We are making our own sensors, and we are making our own lenses, and we are manufacturing our own processors. Okay, so we have done some research, right? And we have made this sensor, which we call it dual gain output sensor. So the benefit of using this sensor is we have given an extra memory to every pixel. What I'm saying is we have given an extra memory to every pixel. Every pixel means, if I'm saying this sensor is 4K sensor, 4K sensor means roughly approximately 9 million pixels, right? But it depends on resolution what you are getting. But DCI approximately 9 megapixel, 9 million pixel means 90 lakh pixels, right? So we have given an extra memory to all those 90 million pixels. And what extra memory will do? It will, for example, if I'm taking this shot, right? So, and I'm considering this as my main exposure, right? Then what the camera is doing, it's taking one more exposure in the same. And with the help of Digic DB7 processor, which I said, it's processing both the exposures and merging it together and creating an HDR image, right? So previously, this was done with the help of external softwares. For example, I need to shoot in log, and I need to take my footage into the grading softwares, and I need to pull out details individually, right? But with the introduction of this sensor and with the processor, Digic DB processor, this is possible internally in the camera now, right? Thanks to this technology, and we have also patented this so that like no other brands can use it, right? So up to 60 frames, this will create a very good HDR images by default, right? So this is called the DDO technology, what we are using it over here. And the same sensor and processor we'll be using our bigger camera like C300 Mark III, which I've told you it was launched uh, just before this camera C70 was launched, right? So we are using similar sensor and similar processor over there, but the cost of that camera is almost double, right? So here we are offering the best kind of technology what we have currently available with us, and with I can say with less price, or I can say with less rental cost, right? Now let's look at what else we are offering over here. So as I said, we are offering 16 stops of dynamic range. So this is possible because of this CMOS sensor, which I've explained you, DGO, and with the help of this processor. So because of this, we are processing it internally, and because of it, you can now able to record 4K 422 10-bit internally, right? Previously, this was not possible. We required an external recorder because the cameras were not capable enough to process this kind of data internally. Means the processors was not enough to process this data. So that's why they are bypassing their signal from either SDI or HDMI port, right? And they will ask you to connect an external recorder and to record those signals, because internally it was not possible. And believe me, what happened, as soon as you attach an external recorder on top of the camera, or maybe on the side of the camera, what happened, you need to connect it with HDMI or SDI. So the moment you connect, the flexibility of camera will be gone, right? And you need to arrange memory cards for those kind of external recorders, as well as you need to copy those footages. You need to arrange battery. So it was a big headache. And while shooting, if your cable misses out the signal, right, then those particular shot will be missed out in your frame, right? So it was very challenging previously, but C70, as I said, is offering all those kind of solutions that, like, which allow you to record 4K 422 10-bit internally in the camera itself, and with all the latest logs and LUTs which are available in the market. For example, 2020 HLG, hybrid log gamma, PQ, Canon log 2 and log 3. So it is equipped with all latest kind of color sciences which we are offering internally in this camera. Right? Okay, so apart from this, what else we are offering? We are offering 4K 120 frames with dual pixel technology. Again, this is a patented thing, and it means it can record 4K resolution, and you can have a continuous autofocusing. That is the beauty of this sensor. Means previously you will not have autofocusing in, like, when you go beyond 30 frames or 25 frames. But nowadays, like, we have introduced 120 frame rate with autofocusing in such a kind of small cameras, right? So this is the power of USC 70. Plus we have also given an option of external, sorry, or to record audio separately in the same clip, means in the same container, right? So what happened when you go beyond 50 frames or 60 frames, right? So the audio will not record in normal cameras, right? So what happened, if you want to record, you need to attach an external audio recorder, right? And later on you need to add it in your post. But in this camera, what we have done, we have given an option wherein if you want to record the audio files separately, then you can do it, right? So this is the one of the key feature of this camera. Plus it will record in SD card, and we have beautiful options what we have given in recording facilities. So I will cover this part in detail, so that's why I'm not covering right now. I have a slide designed for this, so I'll let you know in my coming slides. Focusing, we are using Canon dual pixel autofocus technology. Again, this is also patented. This technology we use for continuous autofocus. Okay, so these are the ports what are available over here, right? So as you can see, you have two mini XLRs, which means it will allow you to record professional audio, right? And it since this is a mini XLR, so few users ask, sir, why you have not added the big XLRs, right? So the answer to those questions is, since we want to make a smaller camera, the size of the camera will be like this much, right? It won't be like this, right? So that's why we have spoken with the audio companies, and they say, okay, we are coming up with mini XLRs because everybody is going compact these days, right? So we are making a mini XLR, so that code you can use, right? So that's why we have given mini XLRs. Now let's say if you have a bigger 3-pin XLRs, so what you can do, you can buy an adapter, and with the help of adapter you can attach your 3-pin XLRs. But we have given option so that you can attach two mini XLRs at the same time. And the advantage of having a of XLRs is you have a dedicated separate audio option, right? Which will allow you to, in adjusting and recording the proper sound, which is not available in terms of 3.5 mm microphones. But anyway, we have that facility available in this camera as well, wherein you can use a 3.5 mm jack. Plus, just to monitor the audio, we have this thing, headphone audio monitor, right? Wherein you can connect your headphones and to for audio monitoring. Plus, we have given Type C USB. Let's say you want to connect this camera wirelessly, right? Sorry, you want to control this camera wirelessly. So there's a third-party dongle available, which is called Type C Wi-Fi dongle. So with the help of that, you can able to control this camera wirelessly in terms of recording, start, stop, and a couple of other features like controlling iris or white balance or exposures or going to the menu and like other things. Plus, we have given HDMI output so that you can connect this camera to an external monitors if required. Plus, just to add the audio signal, right? Just to sync the audio signal, we have TC in an output port, right? So this is a BNC port. This will help you in communicating separate audio devices if in case you want to attach, right? So it will also generating time code, so you can sync it with your devices and you can use it, right? Okay, apart from this, we have also added 10-stop anti-filters internally, right? As a feeder, as a our user feedback, right? So which will allow you to change between 2 to 10 stops, right? Depending on the light. So for example, why this is important? So imagine I'm shooting somewhere in Goa, right? And I want a bouquet shot, right? So in a daytime, and if I want to use like 1.3, it's very tough to create the bouquet because if I don't have ND filters and I want to use 1.3, I have to cut down my light, right? So anyway, I have to shoot like f16 or 18 like during the daytime, right? But if you have 10 stops ND filter kind of thing, right? So you can switch on NDs and you can take benefit of it, right? In reducing the light. So you have 10 stop ND filters plus, as I said, we have launched RF lenses. So this camera is basically has an RF mount. So it means you can use RF lenses directly onto this, and you can also use EF lenses with the help of mount adapter. So I just want to make you understand one thing. If Canon is coming with something new, so it doesn't mean that like your existing equipments will be useless. We don't follow that kind of strategy, right? So but rather we want you to use those lenses. So that's why we have launched a mount adapter, so that since this is a latest type of mount and there's a flange back difference between both the mounts. So this is a latest revolutionary mount what we have launched in mirrorless, same we are using in this camera. So this has a couple of advantages over EF mount, right? So that's why we are using it over here. But let's say if I'm a user, so I'll maybe, there's a lot of possibility that like I'll be having 7200 or I'll be having 2470 or 24105 or 50 mm kind of or 85 mm kind of lens, right? So which I would like to use and I don't want to sell it, right? So with the help of this adapter, right? With the help of this adapter, I can able to use it, right? And use it in a sense, I don't want to waste those lenses, right? So with the help of this adapter, you can use it. And not only this thing, we have added one more adapter. We have launched one more adapter in this family, which will specially for EF lenses, right? So this will call 0.71x wide angle adapter. So there are two adapters. One is RF to EF adapter, uh, which you can use in for mounting EF lenses. Secondly, there's second one, which is a newly launched adapter. This we call it 0.71x wide angle adapter. So the benefit of this adapter is, first of all, this is designed only for this body. Second one is, this is used to adapt EF lenses for on this body, on this mount, right? Third advantage is, as I said, this is a Super 35mm body. So as soon as you attach this adapter, so you'll have a full frame field of view. And the fourth advantage is, let's say if I'm using 24-105mm lens, which offers f4, right? So what happened? This adapter will help me increasing one stop of light, because we are using, this is not a normal adapter. This has glass inside, which will allow it. Basically, this we call it a magical adapter. It will increase my light by one stop. Means my f4 lens will behave like 2.8 lens, right? And secondly, my field of view will be equivalent to a full frame lens. Okay, so these two are the key features. Plus, there are separate advantages as well. For example, you can it will continuously allow you to do autofocusing and like other stuff what we are using in RF lenses. Okay. Now, just to make the camera cooler, right? We have given a silent cooling system at the back of the camera, right? Which what it will do, it will take the fresh air at the back of this chipset, right? And it will pass it on and take it out from the top and the bottom of the body. So what happened? Because what happened when we shooting 4K, so it's creating a lot of heat internally in the body. And let's say if we don't take the heat out, then what happened? The camera will get overheated and it will stop recording. And sometimes we have seen it will affect the image quality as well, right? So just to overcome that problem, we have given lens cooling system, camera cooling system internally in the body. So what it will do, it will take the fresh air from here and it will take it out from this part and this part. So in a way, for example, if you want to use this camera in Rajasthan or maybe like in Bombay or Delhi, so you can comfortably use it, right? So this will allow you to record in and continuously record in high temperature places. Okay. Okay. Apart from this, we have also given vertical shooting mode, right? So based on the popularity, what we are looking at these days, right? Because if you look at Instagram, or if you remember TikTok, or let's say reels are there, right? So everybody is generating the content for mobile phones because they know right now it's lockdown or right now it's like pandemic, but after maybe 3 months, 4 months, 4 or 5 months, 1 year, everybody, our life will become normal, like previously, right? So we will not have ample time what we are having right now, right? So again, we'll be spending a lot of time and traveling, maybe in like local, maybe in bus, maybe in flights. So we need content which we can look at, right? For our time pass, right? And those content can be played because nowadays mobile are coming up with very good battery backup and with very good display. So they are looking something for mobile market, right? So nowadays, like if you can, I don't know you have heard or not, because nowadays OTT players are also looking for their experiment or with vertical shooting mode, right? So this camera is equipped with vertical shooting mode as well, wherein you have option to record 9:16 aspect ratio, right? As you can see over here, this is 16:9 and this offers 9:16 aspect ratio. So for that, we have given an extra, mounting this thing thread over there, which will allow you to mount this vertically on your normal tripods. Okay. These are the formats which are available in these in this camera. So one is XFAVC and second is MPEG 4. So both can be used, depends on requirement. For example, if you are shooting a big budget, right, or a kind of maybe it can be for OTT platform, or it can be for kind of YouTubers or YouTubers content, or you're making shooting some video albums or any kind of where money is involved, right? Then you can go for XFABC. And if you're shooting something for marriages or like before pre-wedding shots, or like some premium content, right? So when I'm talking about premium content, I'm not meant like you're doing 2-3 thousand rupees job. I'm talking about like 3-4 lakh, or like a good money paying job, right? So you can also go with MPEG 4, right? So in both the formats, if you have noticed, we are offering 4K DCI as well as UHD television 4K, right? Both resolutions are there, right? And throughout, whether you want to go with 120 frames or 25 frames or 30 frames or 25 frames, you have 120p option available in high speed, and you can have a resolution option of 4096 into 2160, means DCI 4K, and in 10-bit you can record, means you will not lose the color quality till 120 frames, right? And beyond that, we have also given an option of recording 180 frames in Super 16. So what it will do, the maximum resolution is 2K or Full HD. Again, you can maintain 10-bit. So that is the beauty of this. And believe me, all these things, what all I'm telling you, you can do it internally. You don't need any external recorder, right? So this is the beauty of this camera. And let's say now, if you are shooting something for feature, right? And I need a slow motion shot, right? So feature films generally we use 24 frames. So let's say if I am shooting something for feature and I have taken 120 frames, right? It means when I play it on my timeline, I have option to make it 5 times slower. This is the power of this camera. Okay. So similar options are available in MPEG 4. So depending on your choice and depending on the editing system, you can choose between MPEG 4 and XFABC, and you can start your recording in both the formats. Okay, apart from this, again, this is a very important slide, which I would like to tell you is that we have given 2 recording options. Means you have 2 formats, XFABC and MPEG 4, and at the same time we have given 2 card slots. It means you can insert 2 cards at the same time. And let's say if you're shooting something for like 120 frames, right? Then or kind of high quality content, right? Then we suggest to go with V90 speed SD card, right? So this is the suggested card what we are offering, and this is manufactured by different brands. So depending on your budget and depending on the availability, you can go for it and use it, right? So, but let's see what this camera is offering to you. What's new over here, right? So let's say if I inserted 2 cards, right? Then I have option, I can record in 2 different formats at the same time. I have option to record in 4K and 2K separately in 2 different cards at the same time. It means previously when I'm shooting something, I need to take the footage and either I need to convert it into 2K or HD ready, right? Proxy file, so that I can do my editing. Because if I start ingesting 4K file, then I required a super heavy system, right, for the entire workflow. But if I'm editing always happen on I can say low res files, right, or a proxy files, right? So, and let's say if I want to convert 4K to 2K, right, and I have 1 minute of footage, sorry, 1 hour of footage, so it will take approximately another 1 hour to convert it from a 4K to 2K, based on the conditions that like you have a very good system. Okay, but in this camera, and because of Digic DV7 processor, now this camera is recording in 2 different formats at the same time, and you can have 2 different resolutions, so that you don't need to convert your file from 4K to 2K. So this is the power which this camera is offering to its users, right? Similarly, you have UHD and Full HD resolution option. You can record in 2 different quality, and you can record in all intra frames and long GOP frames, right? So these are the options which are available in dual slot recording as well as simultaneous recording. Okay? So this way you can attach XLRs, mini XLRs directly. And let's say if I said, as I said previously, if you have a bigger 3-pin XLRs, then you can buy a extern kind of converter, which is I think costing 700-800 rupees, and it's easily available on different social platforms, so that you can use it and you can uh, attach it on the body, and you, with the help of it, you can connect it with the camera. Okay, so to record professional audio. And as I said previously, uh, in this option, you can have a dedicated audio control section. So in this camera as well, we have given it, and it's there on the back, the bottom of the LCD, so which you can open and you can use it, and you can control all the audio settings over there. Okay, we have added this continue autofocusing as I've seen you, but there was a lag previously, like previous generation, like first generation cameras. So especially when you're shooting a subject and you are tracking it, like maybe it's being crossing you or you are crossing him, right? Then what happened? The camera do very good autofocusing. But what happened when the subject turns around, right? Then what happened? It loses the focus, right? Then you have to do refocusing. But over here we have added ITR autofocusing system, which will help us in detecting the back of the head. Or let's say if you're shooting some dance shows, right, or some dance performances on the stage, right? So again, this camera will detect the subject, and when and depend irrespective of the subject is looking to the screen or not, to the camera or not, right? But this camera is capable of doing focusing and keep a track of that subject, so that you will not have non-focus shots, right? So this we have added. And you can also have a dual tap focusing lock option, right? So let's say if you have a subject which is going by and you want to track it and you want to record it with autofocusing technology, then you can simply touch on the screen and your focus will be locked, and you can able to record that subject with a proper autofocusing. Okay, so these are the basically the target market where this camera fits in. So if you can see, uh, in terms of broadcasting, which includes sports, TV concerts, right, documentaries, news, interviews, right? You can use this camera. Plus, in terms of film productions, you can use it. You can use this for commercial production, drama. Drama means daily soaps, documentaries, corporate videos, social media events, right? So these are all the categories where this camera fits. So this was all about the and like latest technologies what we are. Now what I can do is uh, 348 was all about the camera. What I'll do, I'll just skip it from here, and now we'll do a Q&A session. I hope, but before jumping to the Q&A session, I would like to know that, like, I hope you are able to understand what I have shown you today. Now you can. I'm sure you'll be having a lot of questions, because this was sometime in one go. Mr. Ramesh, sir, if you can help me with I hope, sir, your students will understand the sessions what we have
Yes, sir.
conducted today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very nice
Uh,
presentation. You explain the each and everything, as per the technical aspect. And sir, I am also receiving the questions. And can you elaborate the
okay.
more thing which is related from the frame? Because the frame, TV frame is different, film frame is different, camera frame is
Okay.
different. Because you told about the camera frame. So how we can justify the frame, and which is the actual frame is very good for the video making purpose or maybe film purpose. So you can more elaborate about that part.
Sure. see, let's say if I have this field of view in my camera, okay. So remember one thing, this is all for your students, that like try to capture a wider frame, right? Wider frame means full field of view, right? So let's say if I have full field of view, I can crop in my software and I can be closer to my subject, right? So, but this we follow when we shoot in 4K, right? Because we have sufficient resolution, or when we shoot in 6K or 5.9, because we have sufficient resolution. Let's say if I crop this thing from here, right, and if this is a 6K frame, right, at least I'll be left with 4K, which I can use for my projection, right? But this only happens when you are shooting on cinema cameras, right, or a bigger sensor cameras, right? But what happened when we talk about like broadcasting? So every industry have its own requirement. For example, if you talk about like 5 years back, right? Everybody was, for especially in broadcasting, they are considering 4:3 aspect ratio. They are shooting full, but they want to shoot their subject in 4:3. So that because they don't know where broadcasting is happening, where projection is happening at the viewer's home. For example, they don't know I have a full HD TV or a standard definition TV, right? I'm talking about 5 years back or like 6 years back, right? So they need to make their subject within that frame. That's called the safer area, right? So let's say if I'm watching it on the standard definition, so my subject will not cut, right? And similarly, if I'm looking the same content on a 16:9 aspect ratio TV, then I can have a wider view, right? So every industry have its own kind of requirement. Similarly, if you talk about broadcasting as of now, right? So as you have seen, there are a lot of 4K televisions are there, right? So what all you have more than 8 megapixel are called 4K. But on reality wise, on ground reality wise, there's a separate 4K for theaters and there's a separate 4K for televisions. Reason being, if you remember like 1.5 years back or maybe 6 months back, if you have seen any movie and if you are able to recall, the movie screens or the theater screens are slightly wider. Why? Because we are using CinemaScope and we are using 2.35:1 aspect ratio. We are not using 4:3 or 16:9. We are using 2.35:1. 2.39:1. In a simple language, that is also called 7:9. So it means we have a slightly wider screen as compared to home televisions. In home television, we follow 16:9, right? To have a normal 16:9 aspect ratio. But theaters, we need 17:9. So how to get 17:9? So they need some extra pixels on the edges, because let's say if they have this footage, so if they want to take out 17:9, then they have to do it this way, right? Otherwise, what happened? So if you have a proper resolution, then you can able to create that frame. But if you don't have proper resolution, then what happened? As soon as you crop it, 17:9, right? You lose out of resolution. So maybe your 4K frame will be, left with 3K or 2K. And so as a result, your projection will not have that kind of information what you are planning, right? So accordingly, nowadays sensors are like 17:9 aspect ratio. So depending on good camera sensors, I'm talking about. So depending on the requirement, the user can define as their requirement that like they are looking for 16:9, means they are projecting television, or they are targeting theaters, right? So depending on that, they can use aspect ratios. It doesn't means like, so let's say if they are using this aspect ratio, it doesn't mean they will not have this, but it means they can have their main subject within that aspect ratio. So that let's say if the same thing is going to project in theater, they will have a wider view. And let's say if the same thing is going to project on television screen, so their main subjects will not get cut.
And sir, one more question
this
I'm
was the
getting
reason.
from the
And,
student side that
believe me,
yes. Yes, please continue, sir. Please continue. Please continue, sir. The answer, please continue.
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And sir, one more question is coming.
The
in the mind.
answer is finished. Please.
Okay, sir. And one more question is coming in that mind, sir. At present, since the Mojo journalism and Mojo video concept is developed, because everyone is the photographer, everyone is the videographer, because they have their smartphone in their hand, so they can click anytime, anywhere, and in easiest way. And they have also very costly smartphone and etc. all these things. So sir, at that scenario, like DSLR and the very costly camera and the digital camera, how it is justified, sir, and how they can make use in different manner comparative to the mobile camera. So is the main thing.
So, so basically, mobiles are good, right? I'm not saying they are bad, but the thing is what they are looking for. Let's say if it's a hobby, right? They can go with mobile phone and they can, start filming it. But did they ever seen that content on the bigger screen? How it look like? They have anytime they have print the photos on a like no on like A3 size or A4 size or slightly bigger A1 size, right? So they need to understand like mobile phones, right? They are having almost this kind of sensor, and these camera sensors are this much big, right? So if you have a bigger sensor, right? So it will create better color. You will have good depth of field. You will have good information. You will have all the minor details, right? Images looks very good on these screens because these are best screens, right? But what about like normal screens? What is the output? So we need to look for it, right? So let's say if I'm doing it as a hobby and if I just started, mobile phone are good, right? They can learn aspect ratios and like other things from mobile phone, right? But when they take this as a profession, then they have to move on to professional cameras, right? So for example, if they're looking for a multi-requirement purpose, wherein they can shoot pictures and they can shoot videos, then we have a good mirrorless series, right? But if they want to make them separately, right? Or they want to stand out in the audience or in the public, right? Or in the user fraternity, then they require professional dedicated cameras, right? So let's say if I'm going to start, right, and I have less budget because everybody there's some budget problem, right? So they can start with like mirrorless, right, which offers both still and video. But if you want to take this as a serious or as a profession, right, seriously or as a profession, then they need to move to professional cameras, right? So see that kind of equipment what we are offering, right? So and as I said, it's not necessary. For example, if you're shooting good, keep doing it, right? You have mirrorless or you have a DSLR, keep using it, right? So let's say if you got good project, right, then try to rent it in initial days, right? Because I know only camera will not work. You also need good lenses, right? So on the initial days, what you can do, you can take these cameras from rental house and try to see what kind of quality they are getting. And once you have budget, please try to shift towards these. So this will make you stand out, right? Because let's say if you are very good with directions and you are very good with your lightings and all, but if your equipment is not capable of having those kind of information to record, right, then your work will be useless. You will not injustice, you'll not do justice with your work, right, with your talent.
And sir,
So that's why if you have noticed, like in the industry,
yes,
everybody's using big cameras and professional equipment.
yes, sir. And sir, the few students are interested in the wildlife photography. They want to know which kind of the camera is utilized and which kind of the lenses are more useful for the wildlife photography, as well as aerial photography or the on-air photography. They want to do through the helicopter or maybe other things, sir. So what kind of the camera and what kind of the technique and what kind of the tips you want to give the such kind of the photography, sir?
Sir, as I said, depends on budget.
Now I got the point. The budget is
We
the
have
most important
cameras,
part.
it starts with like 20, 23,
Yes, sir.
25,000, and it goes to so depends on budget, honestly, but for
Okay.
telephoto, for wildlife and for long distance shot,
Okay.
they surely need 200, 400 kind of lenses, or I can say the minimum what they need is like 100, 400. So that, because let's say if you sight a tiger, so you can't take the camera closer to the subject,
Yes,
right?
sir.
It may harm you, right? So you need to
Yes.
maintain a distance. And let's say when it's chasing its food, right? So you need to also chase them. And so every time, sometime you have bushes, sometime you have plants in between. So you need something like which will make you, which will make your subject closer to the subject. So if budget allows, then 200, 400 is a good option. But at least they should have 100, 400. And this is the lens part. And plus, especially when we talk about action, whether it's sports, or whether it's like bird, or whether it's like wild animals, right? So you need to have a camera which can have a continuous burst mode, and which will have a very good autofocusing, right? So keep three things in mind. It should be a good low light. It should be a high speed shooting mode, right? It should have a very good focusing, and it should have a option to use telephoto lenses. Means it can hold those heavier lenses. So four advice is there from my side. We should look for four things, at least minimum.
Thank you very much, sir. And we have the limitations of the time. But before that, I want to conclude the thing, sir. You told about the various techniques of the camera, various types of the camera lenses, and etc. It's a very wide subject, sir, because we can also conduct our entire session on how we can keep safe over the camera. What kind of the things is required for that, because the camera is very costly equipment, and we can purchase in few thousands and go few lakhs, and we can spend a lot of money on that, and the different kind of the tripod and so many things and so many equipment is required for that. But sir, you elaborate the things related to the frame, lenses, and techniques, so many things, sir. So we thank you, sir, and we also thank you, Gaurav Agarwal, sir. He connect you with us on through PU webinar platform. And sir, we want to see you again and again on PU webinar platform, not only on the cinematography topic, other topic we can also cover related from the cinematography, sir. So as an expert, sir, you explain the things, you elaborate the things, you entire presentation we learn a lot of the things which is related from the cinematography and the latest video technologies, and you explain in entire your presentation, sir. So thank you very much, sir, on behalf of the Parul University, on behalf of the Parul University management, on behalf of the Parul University President, sir, and our Vice Chancellor, sir, and Registrar, sir. And we want to see you again and again PU webinar platform, as well as we want to invite to you through this PU webinar physically in our university to interact with our students, sir. And I also thank you to Gaurav Agarwal, sir, and Kuldeep Tyagi is also joined to us. So thank you both of them for the same, sir. And we are also thankful to our PU webinar technical team. PU webinar technical team, they organize such kind of the wonderful webinar, and they provide the facilities to us without any kind of the technical glitches, sir. We are also thankful to our entire staff member. They promote such kind of the webinar on various platforms, and they work day night, and they also communicate that such kind of the webinar information among the students and the faculty members and the other stakeholders. So thank you very much, sir. Again, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
One question, sir.
Yes,
so
please, sir.
how many of your students have joined today's session?
Sir, we will get the report just after completion the webinar. Every day we receive the report when we'll complete the webinar from our technical team. So I will update you around 6 p.m. By today evening, or 6 or 7 p.m. by today.
No problem.
Not only, it's okay, sir. Yes, sir. Not only student, I will also give the entire participants detail to you, sir. And we have the mass communication 100 students. Out of that, 80 to 90 students are joining this webinar, and we also promote this webinar among the professional outside of the university also, sir. So after 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we will get the entire data, and I will share with you the exact number. This is the total number of the participants joining the webinar, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Thank you
it's
so
our
much.
Pleasure,
thank you, everyone.
Also, sir. Yes, sir. And again, thank you so much for your master talk and wonderful talk on such a wonderful topic, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gaurav ji. Thank you, Ramesh, sir. Thank you, entire
thank you, sir.
attendees. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.